I was a young opera singer, just won the American Opera audition, national contest, first audition of my life, won. Boom! Go to Italy and all this. I'm back, I've all these great contracts, my life is accelerating. I had a lightning bolt flash that I should learn something about astrology because I saw something in the ads, and I studied theology and found all of this stuff congruent in my mind as a hobby, and I thought I'd go check it out. Went in, bought a couple books, was hooked. And the man who sold me the books is Old Time Mason in New York. Wonderful, wonderful, wise old Hungarian about this size, smoke coming out of each ear, you know. And he said, why don't you I got to tell that little story. Some of you have heard this before, but bear with me because I love it. I'm standing with my wife at the time. See, we're there together. That's all hyphenated. And I'm standing there with her, you know, and I'm giving him the arrogant bit. What do you mean? If a plane goes down, everybody's horoscope's all screwed up? You know? That isn't it at all. Don't tell me this. He says, don't be afraid of what you don't know. Okay. And he looked at me after a little bit more of this crazy conversation, the kind we all had or heard. And he says, you must be a Capricorn. I wasn't sure at the time. I looked at my wife, my wife at the time, and she said, and then he just turned like this and he said, you, madam, must be a fight. And I said, excuse me, but how did you know that? And he looked up and he said, all the Capricorns always victimize fight. And if anybody in this room writes that down to use as a rule, I have failed tonight. Now the point of this story is that I said, okay, we do my horoscope. So I went in there to do my horoscope, young opera singer. And he went through the whole bit, my mother and that jazz, all that easy stuff as I look back, but very profound and well done and necessary to give me, and we discussed it fruitfully and what have you. And he made some very nice projections out of our creative dialogue that we had together. There was no jargon being used. There was no valuable time being used up with all that stuff nobody understands that you talk to yourself about Mars and this and that. You go to a doctor and he says, well, you have a sphenoidal air sinus effulgence upon your uvula in your upper tracheal destination. I mean, he got a sinus nasal drip. You know, there it is. The maxillary drainage. It doesn't mean anything. All you're doing is taking up time because you're afraid to come to grips with humanity. No jargon. It's a human being, not a machine. Please, that's hard. Jargon is camouflage. And after we got to the very end of the thing, he projected that in my wishes, because, you know, what do you say about projections? You don't just say, I divine that. I mean, who are we? We're taking the horoscope and relating it to the person and the person's dreams and wishes. And we're adjusting idealism to practical things. Idealism is always up there somewhere. And what you got to do is bring it down so you can get a leg up on it. All right? More about that tomorrow. Now, the thing was, he said, you know, we saw, I'm avoiding the magic here. We saw together that it was eminently practicable that in a year and a half, which sort of fit my schedule and planning and the practicability of the opera seasons and all that transfer and child and home, that I would be able securely to go to Europe for many years and establish myself in about 10 months after that and be secure there. That is the way it goes. Yes, there are dramatic things when you know somebody's horoscope intimately over 5 years that you can do some things that come close to magic. But that was the prediction, and it ensued, and it's wonderful. And I was ready to leave, and I was fulfilled. I kid you not. His exact words were, but wait a minute, Noel. One more thing. Yes, Mr. Mason. You know, you can be a great astrologer. And I said, it's on tape. I said, Mr. Mason, you just want me to buy a lot of your books in that store. He says, no. You can be a great astrologer and a great writer and teacher in the field. I don't see it in you, Noel. I see it in your horoscope.